Now, in the Old Testament, the Spirit would come upon special people at special times for special purposes. And in this story, God's Spirit, or God's breath, or Ruah, breathes life into dead Israel and sets her up on her feet. Dry bones are animated, reunited, cleansed, and activated for service. So then what we can gather as we put these first scriptures together, the one we just read and this one here, is that God is not only the God of first starts, but our God is also the God of fresh starts. The Spirit is the God of beginnings and brand news, and also the God of reboots and revivals. And we're not merely talking about just existing here. There's more to it from the book of Job. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. So what Job is saying is this, that the Holy Spirit creates, and the Holy Spirit also animates. So this just isn't only about being alive, but this is about having something to live for. And for you and I this morning, that begs the question, what are you living for? I mean, what gets you up in the morning? What brings you joy and hope and peace? What do you love? What are all the good, very good things that God the Father, Son, and Spirit have gifted to you? Sometimes we don't think about those things, right? At least that's not naturally where my mind goes. You know where my mind goes when I look at my life and my surroundings? My mind often goes to what I don't have, or what I feel like I'm missing, or something that I want. And when we live in that headspace for too long, what happens is we create this terrible reference point for ourselves. And that then becomes a terrible way for us to live. So if you're in that spot today where you've sort of forgotten about all the good things that God has given you, and you are more focused on all the things you feel you deserve or want or need, then maybe this next question is for you. Is it time for a first start? Or for you, is it time for a fresh start? Have you lost the plot? Have you lost the story of creation and why God created the world? Do you sense yourself heading into a direction that you know will only end in a dead end? Or every once in a while, does this idea bubble up inside of you unexpected, like, I feel like I need to make a change. I feel like things should be different. If that's where you're at this morning, allow me to offer you this encouragement. Maybe inviting the God of first starts and fresh starts to invade and intervene in your life is the next step for you. Perhaps to come boldly forward and say, Spirit, they need you. I need you to step in to make a change and to do something new in me. Not only is God's Spirit the creator of life, but God's Spirit is also the sustainer of life, which means God's Spirit has never stopped brooding over your chaos or over mine. And it's the Spirit that literally continues to bind us and hold us together. And that promised outpouring of the Spirit and that promised new creation includes you. It actually always has. So then for us this morning, the question might be, where do you need God to sustain you? Where do you need God to actually hold you and your life together so it doesn't crumble and turn to dust? Where does the chaos inside of you or all around you, where does that need to be transformed into order in your life? And can I tell you a little secret here? And I can speak to this personally because I've experienced it. That if you ask God to sustain you by the Holy Spirit, God will. If you ask God to transform your chaos into order, God will. If you ask God to bind you and hold you together like oxygen holds this whole planet together, God will. And this is exactly what was happening when Paul includes this word, this idea of joy in the list of the fruit of the Spirit. The joy is the Spirit's subtle takeover of our patterns and of our practices. The repetition of joy soundtrack, or like the turkey in the oven, the smell of joy in the house whets our appetite in an attempt for us to expect and hope for something greater, that thing that is coming. And for those of us who have chosen to walk in step with the Spirit, joy is a state of being. And to hopefully pull all those ideas together and help it click for you, think of it like this. In the Greco-Roman world, joy is an emotion closely related to pleasure or happiness. In Paul, however, joy is a settled state of mind that arises from a sense of God's love for us, produced by the Spirit, and that exists even in the face of difficulties and trials. My friends, I want that algorithm to invade and fuse and take over my algorithm. I want a joy that's not based on whether or not things are going my way. I want a joy that can coexist with other feelings like anger or confusion, disappointment or doubt. I want God's joy. I want that joy that was present at creation. I want the joy that is carrying the day in anticipation of the new creation. A joy that is not dependent on my expectations of pleasure or happiness, but a joy that finds me forever secure in the love of God, no matter what is swirling inside me or what is swirling around